Appreciate y'all coming out, Bills Mafia. We got that dub.
Hey, big dub tonight. Big dub tonight. Bills Mafia showing out. Love you guys.
Big dubs. Hey, no, baby. Keep going.
Happy y'all came out. Support. Keep going. Go Bills.
Big dub indeed. 47-10. It reminded me of the kind of scores that we'd see back in the 70s when I was a kid watching the game. Seriously, there were teams that were dominant and there were teams that stunk. And it seemed like more than every so often you'd get a score like this where one team just completely and totally suffocates the other. The Jaguars were 8-3 last year through 11 games, Devin. They were in the divisional round and gave the Chiefs fits the season before that. They have fallen far. They have fallen fast. And last night, hey, kudos to the Bills for doing it. Shame on the Jaguars for letting it be done to them. But a resounding blowout, 47-10 by the Bills, who have to be taken very seriously as a threat to get back to the Super Bowl for the first time in 31 years.
It seems like so long ago. Week 1, we're watching Jacksonville play Miami. Travis Etienne is going in for a touchdown to really make the game 24-7. And Javon Holland punches the ball out. Next play, Miami gets the ball. Next play, Tyreek Hill goes on an 80-yard touchdown. But like, we're sitting there watching Jacksonville kind of totally dominate the Miami Dolphins on the road in Miami. And we're like, Jacksonville came to play. Like, this is the team that I think a lot of people thought, everyone thought, right away Houston would win the AFC South. But I think people were like, let's not forget about Jacksonville. Jacksonville's still a good team. They added some different weapons this year. They draft Brian Thomas Jr., add Gabe Davis from Buffalo. Like, you were looking at these small little things like this might help this team get over the hump and compete for the division. And they go and play Cleveland last week, and it's kind of a dud of a game. Cleveland figures out a way, not to suck as much as Jacksonville sucked in that game. And then you get to this game Monday night, and as a player, as much as we say it's next game, one game at a time, it's special to play Sunday night football, Monday night football. Like, you think about your best performances being on those nights. Like, every team and every individual player wants that to happen. And you come into the game and you're just like, oh my goodness. Like, Jacksonville, and I hate using this term over and over again, but this was another team that looked like the scout team. They came out, they had to be kind of close. Don't break up the play, coach said. Just show that you were there. Let them make the play. Like, that's what it looked like. Buffalo just marched up and down the field at its own will offensively. The defense made plays. Like, it's not normal to see a team be down 34-3 at the half, and then you look and you're like, all right, they're down 34-3. They're going to get going, or the yards are going to look. Trevor Lawrence still only finished with 178 yards passing when essentially the whole second half was a 2-minute drill. Usually you see like this inflated stat sheet of a quarterback who, you're like, oh, that didn't look good. But then you look, you're like, oh, he still had 350 yards because they were down so many. They still couldn't get anything going. Like, he had 178 yards. Mac Jones comes in for only 22 yards. Like, the whole game, Jacksonville just was asleep. They're still asleep. They were asleep back on the plane, back to Jacksonville. Like, and it wasn't even one of these games where they're playing in Buffalo in December. This is the time of year you want to play Buffalo if you're a Florida team. So, I mean, just unbelievable how badly Jacksonville played last night. Just no fight at all.
34-3 at halftime, the worst deficit the Jaguars have ever faced through the first 2 quarters. I did have a thought back to the playoff game against the Chargers, 27-0, and then it dawned on me. I
mentioned that last night.
Brandon Staley's not walking through that door in Buffalo, so the Bills were sorry, Brandon, but it happened. You did it. I mean, Brandon, loyal PFT aficionado, but that was as bad as it gets. The Bills weren't going to let that happen. And the Jaguars, they score a touchdown early in the third quarter, just kind of a perfunctory, make it not as embarrassing as the final score otherwise would be, although it still was. It just was a complete and total dismantling of a Jaguars team that looks overmatched, that looks like it would be a candidate for relegation if we had multiple layers and levels of leagues in professional football in America. Hi, it's Mike Florio. Thanks for watching PFT on YouTube. Hit subscribe for the latest news and analysis from Pro Football Talk.